She is the Secretary General of the French Facility for Global Environment, and she will now talk about the actions and collaboration opportunities of FFEM. And then together with her, you already met him all today, we have Florent Merle. He's the Deputy Director for European and International Relations at the French Office for Biodiversity, and then he will also talk about the collaboration of OFB and FFEM. And we will start with Stephanie. Thank you again very much for being here, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you for this training, even though being on site would have been even better. So the French Facility for Global Environment, le Fonds français pour l'environnement mondial, also called the FFEM, is a French public facility created by the French government in 1994. So a little more than 30 years now, after the Rio Summit, and the objective was to finance pilot innovative projects, answering at the same time to the environment preservation issues and development issues in the global south. So in 30 years now, we've been financing more than 400 projects, mobilizing 500 million euros from the FFM and up to 5 to 6 billion euros by co-financiers, as the projects we support are always co-financed. So we are providing from 500,000 euros to 2 million euros for pilot innovative projects in biodiversity conservation, in forest and sustainable agriculture, in aquatic ecosystems, oceans, coastal issues, in nature, in cities, and low carbon transition and adaptation of cities, and also in circular economy and the fight against pollutions, not only plastic, but also fight against pollutants, mercury, and so on. So that's in a nutshell what we are doing. Maybe a last thing, we consider innovation and innovative projects as a very large acception and concept. Innovation might be something, a technological innovation, but it might be also only a methodological or institutional innovation in one territory or one area. It could be also something very well developed in some place in the world, but never tested in another geographical and climatic or ecosystem, different ecosystem situation. And last thing, we are not financing innovation for innovation. The purpose is to draw lessons from the financing we are providing and from the solutions that are tested. The idea is, of course, for any solution that works, to try and scale up these solutions, but in a general basis, the idea is to capitalize, to draw lessons from the projects and be able to share these lessons as much as possible with any tools, publication, training, workshops, conferences, social media, and so on. So now, even though Florent will elaborate on other projects and collaboration between the FFM and OFB for different projects in the global south, I would like to provide you really a very concrete example that might raise your attention, in particular because it's with a bank. So it's your sector, let's say. So a concrete example of a partnership between a bank, the BRDE in Brazil, and the conservation NGO Save Brazil, which is an NGO affiliated to the International BirdLife Network. So the FEFEM supports Save Brazil and indirectly the BRD, the bank, in developing innovative and more sustainable production models with the aim of conserving the biodiversity of the biome of the Brazilian Pampa. So just some quick background information on this context, the Brazilian Pampa. This biome corresponds to the extreme south of the country and extends to neighboring countries, Uruguay, Argentina, and also this is a historic area of extensive livestock farming dominated by natural grasslands, and which has many ecological interests in terms of biodiversity, carbon sequestration, reduction of erosion. But the trend of recent years is a major change in practice due to a decline in the competitiveness of livestock farming, but also to the disinterest of young people for the farming activities and to investments that are too low. As a result, herders, farmers, rent out part of their lands to other farmers who grow soya intensively and therefore with the use of chemicals and increased degradation of the environment. So the FEFEM has decided to fund with 2 million euros allocated to Save Brazil, this project linking Save Brazil and the BRD to reduce biodiversity loss in the natural grasslands of the Pampa by promoting good agroecological practices and by developing incentive financing for these practices in connection with BRD credit line that co-finances the project with 4 million euros. So the BRD and Save Brazil offer a blended financing to herders, to farmers, including on the one hand a grant from the FEFEM, and on the other hand, a credit from the BRDE to the breeders, to the herders, and the objective is 100 of herders. They select together, so BRD and Save Brazil, the conservation projects that implement good practices proposed by the producers, the herders. The BRD guarantees compliance with the financial requirements of the bank and any requirements established in the national credit system, as for all the credits they grant. And besides, the selection committee, so with BRD and Save Brazil, relies on the incentive criteria set for the project, for example, on the type of eligible beneficiaries or on the eligible practices. And these criteria exclude, in particular, the intensification of production without a clear environmental dimension and any practice leading to a risk of pollution, notably by chemicals, or negative impacts on biodiversity. So upstream, the BRD and Save Brazil already worked jointly for the conduct of diagnostics on farm practices and the evaluation of the existing credit schemes, and also to facilitate the information, the awareness, and the understanding of the proposed financing, blended financing to the producers. This project and this collaboration allow for significant leverage on the bank, which gains knowledge about the sector, the actors, and thus strengthens its place within the financial system regarding the sector and in the territory where it operates. But also for the producers, the herders, the farmers, who can thus maintain their activities while developing more competitive and sustainable practices. And for the FEFEM and Save Brazil, the idea is to allow, through this innovative blended financing, a more sustainable dynamic and on the long term, a real transition. The interest of the project goes even beyond this funding, since it's often mentioned by the governor of Rio Grande do Sul, and as well as by the Minister of Environment in Brazil. So we see that there is really a momentum and a lot of actors, public, private, banks, civil society, NGOs, really willing to work together and changing and promoting the ecological transition in this ecosystem. So we hope that this model could be appropriated by other financial institutions and also in other sectors. It might be, and it has been already tested. So the idea of blending between a credit line from a bank and a grant from a donor, it has already been tested, for instance, by the French Agency for Development and with the FFM several years ago for the energy transition in plants, for energy efficiency in plants. Now it's tested for the herders. It could be tested for other activities. In a few minutes, again, with Florent from the OFB, sorry, Florent, you will have other examples of how we collaborate, OFB and the FFM, with other actors in the global south. But just a last word, I would like to add that other donors are able to finance similar types of projects and cooperation. I think about the GEF, the Global Environment Facility. I don't know if some of you are familiar with this multilateral financing facility. For instance, with their non-grant instrument or with an upcoming goal for blended financing, they are developing they are providing grants for these types of combination and blended finance too. Thank you. That was, in a few words, what I wanted to share right now.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. I think that's applause worth. And before we continue with Laurent, are there any questions from the audience you would like to ask Stephanie? Yes.
Thank you. I'm Sandrine from AFD, working for the Financial Systems Division. So I just had one question to you. Talking about these projects in Brazil, how do we decide as AFD? I'm sorry, I'm discovering this, but how do we decide to resort to grant resources from the FFM for a project to be combined with a credit line, for example, from our team, compared to another possible source of grant coming from different facilities that can be activated in our group?
So did I understand well? It's really focused on what are the financing tools available for the AFD group?
It's rather why the FFM in some projects compared to other resources that we have internally as AFD. When do we decide this? Is it during the design of the project, or is it related to other mechanisms?
Yeah, it's during the appraisal and the design of the project. So the FFM is actually working a little differently than AFD on this. The projects are proposed directly by the beneficiaries to the FFM. But indeed, AFD proposes and usually co-finances, which is not the case here because this is directly a co-financing by the BRDE. But often the AFD proposes and co-finances the project it proposed to the FFM, and it's decided at the design of the project if there is an innovation that AFD could not finance actually with other financing instrument, and in particular if it's a specific approach innovative approach for the environment. I mean, what I want to stress there is that this is different from other tools that might be not focused on environment. That's really our approach.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any more questions for now? Okay, then if not, for now, thank you again, Stephanie. And then we hand over to you, Flora.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure it's working. Hi. It's working, okay. Merci beaucoup, Stéphanie.
No more questions?
Pour la présentation. Non, il n'y a pas d'autres questions dans la salle.
Perfect.
Merci beaucoup de ce temps et à très vite.
Merci à vous.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are going to tackle the beginning of the afternoon together and the post-meal digestion. Thank you. So I'll do my best. Okay, thanks. So I'm here to present my agency because I'm part of the French Biodiversity Agency, French Biodiversity Office, which is the main stakeholder in terms of biodiversity in France. And I have 3 presentations in one because I'm supposed to speak about the agency first and then to address maritime and ocean issues with the BBNG outcomes and the NIS outcome, and the BBNG process, which is the future agreement regarding high seas. And then to present the Sargadam project we have in collaboration with the FFM. So I do my best to pack it as much as I can to be interactive. Don't hesitate to ask questions. It would be easier for me as well. So what is a French Biodiversity Agency first? I'd like to say that it's a public establishment, so it's a public agency, merging 5 former agencies in regarding biodiversity. So it was created in January 2020, so we have 5 years, and we merge those agencies into one agency. Why? Is really to create a leading organization on biodiversity, restoration, conservation, and protection in France, and also to align all forces around the implementation of the national strategy and the Kunming-Montréal Global Biodiversity Framework. So as you know, we have this framework up to 2030 to address biodiversity erosion. And yeah, the creation of OFB is like a bridgehead for everyone, all stakeholders in France to tackle the biodiversity crisis. Then we are working under the supervision of 2 ministries, so Ministry for an Ecological Transition, so it means Ministry for Environment, and Ministry for Agriculture. We are a big agency, I must say, because we are nearly 3,000 staff everywhere in France and also in overseas territories. And we have roughly 600 million euro per year budget, which is big. And I'd like to say that half of the budget comes from water agencies. So in France, it's really a singularity, a particularity that water agencies work everywhere in France to collect individual contributions from everyone, from particulier and also companies, and they finance the budget of the French Biodiversity Agency. Next, so we are located everywhere in France. We have 3 headquarters in Brittany, in Brest, in Paris, Vincennes, and also in the south of France, not in Marseille, unfortunately, but in Montpellier. But as we are working on the field, because 2/3 of our staff are policemen or policewomen, I'd like to say that it's the law enforcement part of the agency. We are located everywhere in France, and also in overseas territories such as Caribbean and Guyana, Caribbean islands and Guyana, in also Indian Ocean with Mayotte, La Réunion Island, and other islands there, and also in Pacific, in New Caledonia, in French Polynesia. So we have 5 main tasks delegated by the ministry, and I would like to mention that in the mapping of biodiversity agencies around the world, we are pretty unique because it's really hard to combine all those tasks within the same agency, because we are talking about law enforcement, we are talking about mobilizing society, we conserve and manage protected areas, we are developing knowledge, research, and expertise on the field of ecosystem and species, and we also support our ministries to implement EU and French public policies. So the first task is really to support ministries, first to design, to implement, and to assess. So meaning that we are working, as you know, in France under European directives. So we have different directives. So the most important one are Habitat, Fauna, Flora, Birds Directive, Marine Framework Strategy, and we are working about the Nature Restoration Law, which comes into force at the next year. And at the national level, we are really put in place policies to implement policies, action plan, and strategies. So first of all, we are working for the national strategy, for the implementation of the national strategy for biodiversity. So the national strategy means NBSAP, so it's our national NBSAP. But we have also other strategies for protected areas. We have big strategies about that. And of course, we have also action plan and other strategies regarding invasive alien species, corridors with green and blue, what we call the green and blue network, and for ecosystems, ecological continuity of waterways, wetlands, and for species as well. The last part of our support to public policies is to train officials from municipalities to departments to regions in France to the protection of biodiversity. Second mission, as I mentioned in the introduction, is to collect data on water, ecosystem, species. We are also in charge of the coordination of all data's national information systems regarding marine, water, and biodiversity as well. So we can. It's public. So we have different internet website to be consulted about the state of the art regarding the biodiversity status. We carry out research activities, and we have specialized research centers to do it. We contribute also to the development of knowledge by leading or supporting financially scientific and technical studies in partnership with university, with NGOs, and many stakeholders in France. And we manage what we call the National Biodiversity Observatory, which is a platform, a network working on indicators to follow on biodiversity status. Indicators for public, indicators for research, so it's very large. Then we conserve and manage protected areas. So So we have different type of protected areas in France. So the first map here showcase the national parks. So we have 11 national parks in France and in overseas territories. We have also national reserves. We have regional parks. We have marine natural parks. And also, of course, we have an European network which is called Natura 2000, which is also a network for protected areas. And at the international scale, we have biosphere reserves, and we have Ramsar sites. And at the OFB, we are directly managing the marine natural parks. So 5 marine natural parks in France, continental France, and 3 in overseas territories. We have also a marine mammal sanctuary in Caribbean island. We are managing all the Natura 2000 areas in marine, and also terrestrial natural 2000 areas. We have wildlife reserves, and also we are managing the biosphere reserve of the Iroise Sea in Brittany. We also act as bridgehead for protected area managers in France, because we are leading what we call the Conference of Protected Areas, which is a body created and led by the OFB to bring all together all managers around the table 3 to 4 times per year to discuss how we implement collectively the national strategy for protected areas, what we call the SNAP. And also, I have to mention that the national parks are affiliated with OFB. It means they are autonomous, but not totally autonomous, because all human resources, all financial resources rely on French Biodiversity Agency. And we are providing them also a common administrative platform regarding scientific, legal, technical, and communication issues. I pass over the dedicated tool of marine natural parks, which is a new and innovative tool dedicated to the sustainable management of MPAs in France. It has been it was set up in 2016 to really enhance conservation in marine ecosystems. But I go quickly about that. Fourth mission is to mobilize society. So it's quite new for public agency in France to mobilize society, to promote commitment. So we are talking about mainstreaming of biodiversity. It's something that has been previously done by NGOs, associations, but we are doing our best to put in place different initiatives to mobilize all the civil society. And we have different initiatives within this mission, and I will quote the regional biodiversity agencies, which is the sponsor, which is an organization between regions, between local authorities, the region, and the OFB, to promote conservation of biodiversity and to enhance biodiversity mobilization, mainstreaming on local, on each region. So we found regional biodiversity agencies with region and with local governments, and we try to disseminate and to enhance our capacity to work closely with local governments and on the field. We have another initiative which is called the Atlas of Communal Biodiversity. It's designs for municipalities, so for really small local authority, to assess the level of each, the state of art of each municipality regarding biodiversity, in order to protect it better in all urban development documents. We have also an initiative dedicated to companies, local authorities as well, and associations to mobilize and to commit themselves to a transformative change, which is called the Territory Committed for Nature, companies committed for nature, and partners, stakeholders committed for nature. And the last initiative that I wanted to speak is educational areas. It's a very nice initiative to involve young people in the management of natural areas. So we have so far 1,500 educational areas around mainland France and also in overseas territories, to let them manage a small piece of land close to the school, together with teachers, together with local NGOs, local associations. And it's pretty nice because it's a way to involve young in literacy, in education for environment, and it's pretty a very nice initiative that we are trying to internationalize, because some countries are interested to put in place pilots of educational areas. And then the last mission we have is the law enforcement that I mentioned earlier, and wildlife health police, meaning that 2/3 of the staff, so 2,000 environmental inspectors, rangers, I would say, are working on the field across France. They are qualified to intervene either in protected areas or not, because they can do environmental law enforcement everywhere, and for all ecosystems. So meaning that they can address flora, wildlife, fauna, water, aquatic ecosystem, or marine ecosystem, outside or inside the natural areas. They are also skilled to implement the CITES. So CITES is a convention on Washington regarding the fauna and flora, regarding the trade for fauna and flora, which are endangered. And they produce also advice to reduce environmental impacts of projects within territories. At the international level, we are working through three main issues. So first of all is we have the mandate to support the ministries to follow on international conventions. So we are integrated into a delegation during international negotiation to support ministries in terms of scientific and technical issues. So it means we are following on the Convention of Biodiversity, Biological Diversity, the CBD, the Convention regarding CITES, Ramsar Convention on wetlands, the CMS, which is a Bonn Convention regarding migratory species, and also other convention regarding marine biodiversity, biological diversity, and the one regarding BBNG, so meaning biodiversity beyond national jurisdictions. And we are also following on regional sea conventions. So we have different ones. Barcelona for Mediterranean, Cartagena for Caribbean, OSPAR for Atlantic, CAMLAR for Antarctic, and Nairobi in East Africa. Second task is to enhance institutional relations at the meaning that we are trying to set up MOUs and agreements between agencies around the world. So we are trying to work first with other at the cross-border level, so in mainland France, but also in overseas territories. So meaning that we are in close relationship with partners in Europe, from Belgium to Spain, and also we try to develop close partnership with some countries. So, for example, we have a MOU with our sister agency, which is NFGA in China, which is the administration of parks, and we are collaborating since 6 years with them on specific technical issues. We have a close partnership with South Africa, with Sambi and Sam Parks, since 3 years. So we have a MOU, and we have been implementing a project funded by AFD regarding exchange of expertise and knowledge on marine protected areas, so in France and in South Africa. And we have also other collaborations with Mexico, with Mexico, with Brazil, the ICM Bio Agency, with Panama, with Guinea, Madagascar, Tunisia. And last point, we really try to get involved within the European and international networks regarding biodiversity. So we are part of all the networks regarding the management of sites of protected areas. So Eurocite, Europark, and ENCA, which is the European network of heads of nature conservation agencies. We support MEDPAN and the Mediterranean Posidonia Network, which is a network addressing the conservation of Posidonie, which is an endemic seagrass throughout Mediterranean. And also we are involved in the international partnership on MPAs, and we have a specific agreement regarding research within this partnership to address biodiversity and climate change. And we are also leading the GBAN, which is a Global Biodiversity Agency Network, and we try to raise awareness of all agencies around the world about the issues we tackle. Last task is to support implementation, to support European and international projects. So we have different ways to do so. At the European level, also, of course, within the agency, we are leading or contributing to many European projects. So we have roughly 60 projects which are following by other departments in OFB. So we are talking about LIFE, about Horizon, about Interreg. It's more or less projects which are funded by EU, either on the field or about research, or about regional integration when we are talking about overseas territories. We are also leading different other kind of projects at the international level. So I talk about the Sambi and Sandparks project. So we are supporting them for the management of MPAs and biodiversity assessment methodologies. So this one is funded by AFD, and we have two staff working for this project. One of those staff are located in Cape Town in South Africa. And we have also a project which is called Resource, tackling development of sustainable management for taking and wide use of wetlands. So it's all about waterbirds populations. So you might know that half of our population of bird population in France are migratory species. So meaning that our birds are in sub-Sahara for spending the winter. So it means we have to collect data from the north part of Europe up to sub-Sahara and Africa to making sure that we have a strong data. We have also a project which is called Varuna, which is led by Expertise France, and we are part of the project in Indian Ocean, supporting a network of MPAs managers, and we are also developing other projects. CARICAP is a project within the Great Caribbean region to enhance capacity building for managers in the region, and to elaborate with the CARSPO, which is a body of the Convention of Cartagena, to enhance collaboration between managers for those highlands. We are also working in French Guiana, but not only in French Guiana, in all the Guyana Shield, with Suriname, Guyana, French Guiana, and the Amapá state of Brazil, to step up collaboration around the jaguar, the protection of the jaguar in its distribution area. And we are also able to support financially projects at and international stakeholders. So we have a small budget of 2 million euros per year to fund those stakeholders, and we are supporting the BBNG process. I will talk later more about the BBNG process, and also we are working with international conventions, IUCN, UNESCO, IBES, CBD, CMS to fund some project in terms of technical and scientific aspects. And also stakeholders around water at the international level, OEO, partnership for water, and other partners in Mediterranean or Austral or Southern Africa. We are working with Ramsar regional initiatives to let them contributing to the implementation of the Ramsar Convention at the very local level. I can stop a few minutes there. Maybe you have questions about the organization of the agency, about what has been said. Don't hesitate maybe to ask questions. Thanks.
I was wondering when you started the presentation that you said that this agency was created bringing together 5 different agencies that were existing before. Yep. Even though if you have a kind of experience which is not so longer, is there a kind of really tangible, I would say, advantage that to have all these functions together now brings to the work that you do?
Yes, of course. I just put the slide regarding. Yes. Regarding the merging of national agencies. So we are talking about the former agencies in charge of marine protected areas, the former agencies regarding the training for rangers. It was a specific agency for training. The ONEMA was the national agency regarding water and aquatic ecosystems. Then this one is a National Parks Agency, and the last one was the National National Agency regarding wildlife and hunting. So it's pretty clear that working all together, it's a big asset for us, because all the at the really local level, I mentioned the work of the rangers. They are not doing only environmental law enforcement. They are collecting data. They are working closely with local authorities, with users, hunters, fishers, to protect and to sensibilize about biodiversity. And they are now able to work from marine ecosystems to land ecosystem to terrestrial ecosystems, to implement CITES, to produce environmental advice. So it's pretty clear that having in the same agency all the skills around the protection of biodiversity is a big asset for us, because they can, when they are not working for the law enforcement, they can collect data, or they can do many other activities. So at the very local level, it's really relevant, and at the national level as well, it's pretty nice, because for those two ministries in charge of in charge of the OFB, we have only one stakeholder. We have only one stakeholder, and when we are talking about transformative change, what we can do to really mitigate, but I would say to develop a kind of consensus between development and sustainability. We are able to do it internally before speaking to our ministries in charge of the biodiversity. So at each level, it's pretty good, but I have to mention that it was really hard for those all those people to work together. You know, when you are talking about somebody working previously at the hunting agency, talking with other, it's really hard to understand themselves. So yeah, it was a mariage forcé, a force wedding, and internally it's still ongoing to learn to work together, but it makes sense at the national level.
Yeah, I had almost similar question, but rather on the vertical coordination, because I understand that they contribute to half of your budget, water agency. So what is the, I would say, the fund allocation and distribution model? What are the funds collected from water agency used for? How do you prioritize it? And basically, what are the trade-offs also for them? Because is it special fees that are collected to contribute to OFB or part of their budget, and how do they benefit from it?
For me, it's a kind of paiement pour service écosystémique. So ecosystemic, how I can say ecosystemic payment, and it is not pointed. So I mean, sorry. Yeah. So it means we can use this fund for all activities. I mean, for our salaries, for activities on the ground, and also to finance associations working closely with OFB. Within this budget, half of the budget goes through through stakeholders, through associations working everywhere in France. So we are using half of the budget for us to deliver, to run the agency, and half of the budget is a contribution to local stakeholders. And at the international level, we have 2 million euros to fund projects at the international level. So yeah, it means we can use it as we want, but we have of course ministries in charge of the agency. We have a board, and yes, we have to of course explain how we want to use the annual budget.
Is it something that they have to finance on their own budget, or could it take support from you to get the relevant study and assessment finance?
I don't get your...
So if they want to, if a water agency have a specific, they want to have a marine area, get a certification or a label and its specific assessment or a study for that, do they have to finance it on their own, or could they seek support from you?
From the water agency point of view. Okay, so we are not obliged to get back to them to explain how we use the budget. It just go through agencies. This budget comes from contribution, individual contribution for water, and it goes through water agencies and then to OFB, but they are not they are not tasked to follow on this budget. They just transfer it to OFB, and OFB use it as it wants. Any other question regarding the? Okay,
yes, maybe one question regarding the international cooperation part. Based on your experience working with different national parks, I don't know, in South Africa, or different also NGOs working on the domain of the OFB, do you see because you finance mainly through grants, and I know that AFD also finance, I don't know, like parks or marine protected areas through grants. But do you see a change in the way that those actors are trying to mobilize funds, if they're trying to make emissions or new kind of financing mechanisms? To sum it up, like how do you see that banks can help those kind of actors, knowing that we have less and less grants?
Yes, it's a pretty interesting question. So yes, we can see a change, as you mentioned. So of course, since 5 years, the trend is not very good, as we know. But we are trying to really see how we can work with innovating finance, so such as biodiversity credits. We are talking at the European level about nature credits as well. So I think it would be a great opportunity to develop other mechanisms to enable financing of new projects. So we are really trying to do so. For example, in South Africa, based on the current project we have regarding exchange of knowledge on MPAs, mine protected areas, we decided to develop a new framework, a new cooperation project with biodiversity credits. So meaning that we will try together and with the support of AFD to design a framework in South Africa to bid for biodiversity credits. And I think one of the way we can work to step up our ability to develop new projects. And regarding the banks, of course, we are working closely with at the national level with FEFEM, the French Fund for Environment, with AFD, but we would be happy to develop our network of collaboration with other banks to fund projects, because we are trying to develop new projects at the international level. It's mainly regarding transnational collaboration about from overseas territories, so meaning in Great Caribbean, in Guyana Shield, in Indian Ocean, and in Pacific as well. So trying to integrate islands, French islands, into the regional or sub-regional network. So we design new project, and would be really happy to see how we would be able to finance those projects with banks and with whole mechanisms that could be set up. Sorry.
And in the national level, did you started talking with banks or with the FFM for financing, even if there is through credit, not even bonds? And if yes, which is the main obstacle that you see?
At the national level, we cannot apply for grants with AFD or
no grants, loans. Sorry, I said grant. Loan for
loan. Okay.
Yes.
Loan. No, we are not able to apply for loans, as you mentioned. So we cannot emprunter. Hein? No. We are a public agency, so we are not skilled to do so. But we are working, of course, at the national level with our ministries. To set up a national strategy regarding the new financing mechanism. So, meaning for example, the nature credits at the European level. It's clear. So, I will just maybe take 5 to 10 minutes, if it's okay for you, to speak a bit about BBNG process and updates of the outcomes of the Nice conference. So we are going to talk about marine issues in the last part of my presentation. So as you might know, we held an international conference in Nice at the beginning of June, So it was a success in terms of representations because 175 UN member states were present there, meaning that 12,000 delegates were in Nice, with a big representation of head of states and governments and ministries. Of course, UN leaders were part of the meeting, and apart from the ocean panels, the formal ocean panels, more than 1,000 side events were organized everywhere in France. So why this UN conference was important? Because it's really enabled members of the international community to make new voluntary commitments regarding conservation of oceans. And those commitments have been compiled in a single document, which is called the Nice Commitments for the Ocean. And this document was endorsed with many ambitions. The first one is regarding deep sea mining. So we are pleased to see that 37 states have declared their support for a pause or a moratorium on deep sea mining. On sustainable fishing, we have a big agreement which has been ratified by the World Trade Organization, which is called the Fish One Agreement, and which will put an end to subsidies for illegal fishing. I skip over the battle for plastic pollutions because it has been a fail at the last meeting in Geneva. But in the field of ocean science, we endorsed the transformation of the Mercator International Center for the Ocean into an intergovernmental organization, enabling the creation of what we call a digital twin for the ocean. And we also endorse the International Platform for Ocean Sustainability, which is the IPOS, which will work as the GIEC for the ocean. And also we mobilize the international community to make progress towards the Kunming-Montréal GBF and the target of 30 by 30, meaning protecting 30% of land and sea by 2030. And the rate of marine area protection increased from 8 to 11% during the UN conference. In terms of blue finance, we had many commitments. 8.7 billion by philanthropists, private investors, and public banks to support the blue economy. We also endorse what we call the Black-Blue Ocean Finance Commitment, which is managing over than 3 billion euro, 3 trillion euro in assets. 20 development banks form what we call the Finance in Common Ocean Coalition, committing to fund 7.5 billion per year to blue finance. And also we had many commitments made by companies to join what we call the Business for Ocean initiative to integrate ocean-related risks and opportunities into their strategy. And last but not least, we had a significant increase in ratifications of the agreement on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, which is called the BBNG. So it's a new environmental agreement working about conservation of high seas. So what is exactly this agreement? So as you might know, oceans cover 75% of our planet, and 2/3 are beyond national jurisdictions. So meaning that high seas represent half of our planet. It's huge and represent 90% of the total ocean biomass. And in June 2023, governments under the framework of UN adopted this treaty, the ICES Treaty, enabling stronger international efforts to protect our ocean, to mitigate climate change, and to safeguard life and livelihood of billions of people worldwide. Since September 2023, the treaty has been open for state signatures and ratifications. And so far, we are pleased to see that 145 countries have signed the new treaty, and 75 have ratified the new treaty, meaning that the treaty will come into force in roughly 80 days, because of the threshold of 60 ratification has been done. So it's a good news because it's an outcome of a very long multilateral process that began 15 years ago, and will establish a legally binding tool for ocean. It's also good news because it's an essential, crucial piece of in the puzzle of ocean conservation, because until now we didn't have any tool for conservation in high seas. And it will also serve as a concrete tool for the implementation of the Kunming-Montréal target, the 30 by 30 target. So we have 3 main objectives and 4 implementation measures. In terms of objectives, it aims to strengthen governance in high seas, implement effective tools for the protection of the ocean and marine biodiversity, and ensure also the sustainable and fair use of these resources. In terms of implementation measures, it means the creation of what we call an area-based management tools, meaning a kind of MPA, a kind of marine protected area, the sustainable use of marine genetic resources and the fair and equitable sharing of their benefits, the creation of the environmental impact assessments to ensure sustainable use, and transfer of marine technology to developing countries, and capacity building. So this is the framework of the design and the proposal of an MPA in ICES. So you have to work together with states, elaborate a dossier, and to submit it to the scientific and technical body of the BBNG, and then to consult regional organization and stakeholders, and then a decision has to be made by the COP, knowing that the first COP, the first BBNG COP, will take place in August 2026, so next year. So this is a detail of the dossier that has to be done. So you have a part regarding geographical and spatial description. We have the description of the state of the marine environment and biological diversity. We have information on human activities and their impact, and description of conservation and sustainable use objectives, and a draft management plan to be submitted to the scientific and technical body of BBNG before consultation with stakeholders. I'd like to mention that in the global framework of high seas, we already have few examples of MPAs in high seas through what we call the CAMLAR Convention and the OSPAR Convention. So the CAMLAR is a Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources, which was created in 1982. And OSPAR is a combination of 2 conventions updated and extended in 1992 to protect the marine environment of the Northeast Atlantic. In CAMLAR, you have basically 2 existing MPAs, and we are trying at the European level, and plus Norway and Argentina and Chile to develop 3 other MPAs around the Antarctic. And then for OSPAR, we have a big network of protected areas, but only 11 are beyond national jurisdictions. You can see those areas here. So what we are doing at the OFB level to be ready for the COP1 for BBNG COP1 next year, we conduct at national level an assessment on which areas should be proposed as MPA during the future COP1, and we selected 8 areas around the world. And the methodology was to cross-cut all data available regarding marine ecology. And then we prioritize and we propose one to be found, and AFD was interested to finance a proposal for big areas here in southern Africa. So from the Marion Highland, Crozet archipelago to the front of Agulhas. So it's a big area here, and we try to put in place this collaboration through a project which is called AMPANI project, meaning Austral Marine Protected Areas Network Initiative, to protect this subantarctic zone and part of Eastern Indian Ocean. So this project will start at the end of the year up to 2029, and we will try to. This project aims to create what we call the Subantarctic Consortium, which will enable recommendations for the drafting of MPA proposal that will be submitted to the BBNG Agreement Secretariat. So I go fast about that, but don't hesitate to ask questions. It's a bit technical. Maybe I'd like also to mention that we are not working alone as OFB to develop MPA's project for BBNG COP1. We work also with UNESCO to value what we call the outstanding universal value within ICs. And we develop a project with UNESCO illustrating outstanding universal values for sites located in areas beyond national jurisdictions. So it could be submerged fossil highlands, giant volcanoes, underwater mountains, and a deep dark zone in Indian Ocean with high white rock towers, which is called the Lost City. And those sites, those five sites, has been selected to showcase how we can work within the UNESCO Convention to protect natural heritage located outside. Time is up. Okay, I will close my speech. Then, so we are trying to work closely with other partners. So UNESCO, also FFM. So we are developing a few projects. Sargadom, which is working on the Sargassum Sea in North Atlantic, and also in the thermal dome in the east part of tropical Pacific. Also with a project which is called Plankteco, addressing upwelling currents in southern Africa, close to Bengala Current, Canary Current in West Africa, and the Humboldt Current in South America. And we are working also with this last project, which is called Cuyo, regarding the underwater noises in the Indian Ocean, which we are contributing with the Marine Natural Park in Mayotte Island. So maybe I will stop here about BBNG. Don't hesitate maybe to ask questions about the BBNG process, designation of new MPAs, the work we have been doing at the national level and at OFB to develop a strong network of MPAs in the future. Yeah, please.
How do you foresee the management of MPA in the future? Would it be a collaboration of national agency, or would that be a supranational one?
You mean at the high seas level? Yeah. I think everything can be done. Everything is open because we are not talking about specifically MPAs. We are talking about area-based management tools. So meaning that we can have different types of MPAs, different ways to collaborate. For example, regarding the thermal dome of the tropical Eastern Pacific, the dome thermal is an upwelling current from the deep to the surface, spreading around EEZ, so around national jurisdiction and international jurisdictions. And we are trying within this project, which is also funded by OFB and FFM, to put in place what we call an hybrid governance between EEZ and between international jurisdictions, because we don't start from scratch, and we have to collaborate closely with countries, Middle America countries, especially Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and yeah, hybrid governance means that we are working closely with COCATRAM. COCATRAM is a transport maritime organization of South America, and IMO, International Maritime Organization, to develop what we call a PSSA. It's a particularly sensitive area. So meaning that it could be not a specific MPA with borders. It could be something taking into account the regional variability of the thermal dome, meaning that sometimes in the year we will put in place some measures, maybe closures for fishing, or maybe put in place different routes for shipping, and the other part of the year it could be different because of the variability, the seasonal variability of the dome, of the upwelling, and because of the EEZ, the EEZ and non-EEZ location of the thermal dome. So everything is open, but it's up to countries to develop their own proposal.
Okay, thank you so much, Florent, for sharing your insights on the work of OFB and FFAM.
Thank you so much.